Today, on Guess What I Found Out, we are going to attempt the most ambitious home improvement project in human history, drilling a hole straight down to the center of the Earth. And, well, I'm going to save you about 4,000 miles of suspense right now. We cannot do it. We are not even close. The deepest hole humanity has ever drilled goes down about 12 kilometers, and the center of the Earth is over 6,000 kilometers away. So we have made it roughly 0.2% of the way. We have, essentially, scratched the paint. Here is the thing nobody appreciates about our planet. We live on a cool, crunchy little shell floating on top of an absolutely furious interior. I am going to call the hot stuff underneath us the lava basement, because that is the vibe, an enormous, scalding, pressurized basement that the entire surface world is politely ignoring. And the reason we keep trying to break into the lava basement is not just curiosity. It is because there is enough clean energy down there to power civilization basically forever, if we could only reach it without our equipment melting. Stick around, Curious George. This gets wild. Let's start with the current record holder, because it is a legend. In the far north of Russia, the Soviets spent about 20 years drilling something called the Kola Superdeep Borehole. They got down to 12,262 meters, and that hole is still, decades later, the deepest vertical hole humans have ever made. And here is my favorite detail. The whole thing is only about 9 inches across. 20 years of work for a hole you could not fit a basketball into. They wanted to go deeper. They had to stop. Not because they ran out of rock, but because it got hot. Around 180 degrees Celsius hot. Which does not sound apocalyptic until you learn what heat does to rock that deep. Because down there, under that heat and that crushing weight, solid rock stops acting solid. It starts behaving like putty. So you drill your nice clean hole, and the walls just slowly squish back inward and try to close it like nothing happened. The Earth, it turns out, heals its wounds, which is beautiful philosophically and a complete nightmare professionally. That is barrier number 1. Heat. Roughly every kilometre you go down, it gets about 25 degrees hotter, and conventional drill bits and electronics simply cannot survive what is waiting at the bottom. Barrier number 2 is pressure. At 10 kilometres down, the weight of all that rock pressing in can hit something like 40,000 pounds per square inch. China just gave us a brutal demonstration of this, by the way. In early 2025, they finished a hole in the Taklamakan Desert called Shendi Take 1, going down nearly 11 kilometers, the second deepest vertical hole on the planet. Down there, they measured temperatures over 210 degrees and pressure greater than the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Their own engineers compared the difficulty to a lunar mission. That is what the lava basement does to anyone who knocks. If you are enjoying watching the planet aggressively defend its own basement, do me a favor and subscribe to Guess What I Found Out, because we go digging for stuff like this 3 times a week. So, conventional drilling basically hits a wall, a hot, squishy, high-pressure wall. Which is why the most interesting idea in this whole field does not use a drill bit at all. A company called Quaise wants to drill with a beam of energy, specifically millimeter waves, which are cousins of the microwaves in your kitchen, fired by a device called a gyrotron that was originally built for nuclear fusion research. The pitch is gloriously simple. Instead of grinding through rock, you blast it with so much focused energy that the rock turns to dust and ash, and you blow that dust back up out of the hole with high-pressure air. No fragile machinery sitting at the scalding bottom. The energy beam travels down a pipe, and the hot, mean part of the job happens at the rock face, while your delicate equipment stays safe up top in the fresh air. And this is not just a slide deck. Out at a granite quarry in Marble Falls, Texas, Quays has actually done it, vaporizing real rock and drilling down past 100 meters with this beam, a record for the technique. They started with a roughly 100 kilowatt machine and have a megawatt class monster on the way. Early on, they even talked about melting the rock into a glass lining for the walls, but in the field they found it cleaner to pulverize it into ash and lift it out. The dream is to eventually reach what is called superhot rock, around 400 degrees Celsius, where water gets so energetic that a single well could, in theory, deliver something like 10 times the energy of a normal geothermal well. Which brings me to the moment I actually want your brain on. And, well, I want you to fight about it in the comments. We are talking about cracking open the planet's lava basement to pull out clean energy. But poking the deep earth has consequences. Pumping fluid into deep, hot rock has triggered real earthquakes. A geothermal project in Pohang, South Korea, is tied to a magnitude 5.5 quake in 2017 that injured people and damaged buildings, and a project in Basel, Switzerland, was shut down after it set off tremors. So here is the question. If nearly limitless clean energy is sitting under our feet, how much earthquake risk is acceptable to go get it? Where exactly is the line, and who gets to draw it? Tell me where you land, and tell me why. Now, before you picture every energy company racing to drill 20 kilometers down, here is the practical plot twist. You often do not need to. Other companies like Fervo are going only moderately deep, to hot but reachable rock, then drilling sideways and cracking the rock to create big networks of fractures for water to flow through. More surface area, more heat, way less depth. It is already real enough that Google is buying this kind of geothermal power to run data centers. So the future might not be one heroic hole to the center of the earth. It might be a million sensible ones. And that is the strange beauty of this whole story. We treat the ground as the one solid, boring, finished thing in our lives, the literal definition of stability. But a few kilometers down, it is hot, restless, moving, and absolutely loaded with energy we are only just learning to touch without getting burned. We are not going to reach the center of the earth anytime soon. But we may not need to. We just need to knock on the lava basement door politely enough that it answers, instead of shaking the house down. If your sense of solid ground feels a little less solid now, that is the job. Hit like, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so the next deep dive finds you. See you there, Curious George.